Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. I see as I scoot around the world that Jermell Charlo is going to go toe-to-toe against Simon Munguia. That's set for June, according to Premier Champions. I see that Canelo is open to fighting either Beterbiev or Smith, depending who wins in December. And of course, Jermell Charlo is calling out Canelo. Come see me. I want the smoke. Good stuff. Anyway, getting back to my normal routine here. It's good to see we have some results from the past weekend, including some that I was promoting because of the new young up-and-comers. And I see that the event that took place at Wind Creek Event Center in Bethlehem, USA on the 11th of March, where Keenan Wheeler needed just 82 seconds to stop Ryan Adams in a scheduled 8-rounder in a super middleweight fight in front of a large crowd. And then into that bout, seconds into that bout, Wheeler dropped Adams with a power jab. Adams never regained his balance as he wobbled, but it was by 2 more punches, and the fight was stopped at 1 minute and 22 seconds of that first round. Wow. Elsewhere on that fight, by the way, we saw that Kenny Robles pounded an 8-round unanimous decision over Neil Nelson in a junior welterweight bout, and Jonathan Rodriguez won a 6-round unanimous decision over Jose Flores Chavez in a bantamweight fight. James Bernardin stopped Kevin Asmat in the 6th and final round of their lightweight fight, and Julian Gonzalez remained perfect as he stopped Carlos Padilla at the end of round 2 of their 6th-round lightweight contest. And in the women's side of things, I see that Liana Cruz remained undefeated with a 4-round unanimous decision over Aniela Lopez in the bantamweight division. And Kudera Albright remained perfect with a 3rd-round stoppage of Antonio Wattle in a scheduled 6-rounder. So good stuff out of Bethlehem. Moving practically across the road, we see that Christian Tapa defeated Luis Lebron at the Live Event Center at the Live Casino Hotel in Philadelphia. Christian Tapia outlasted Luis Lebron in a 10-rounder unanimous decision. He captured, therefore, the WBC Continental Super Featherweight title in a bout that exceeded the pre-fight hype that took place in front of the capacity crowd down in Philadelphia. The fight, by the way, topped a terrific card that was promoted by Hard Hitting Promotions. Good for them. Early on, it looked like it was going to be LeBron's night as he hurt Tapia badly as he landed a flush left hook to the right side of the head. Tapia was rocked and held on for the balance of the frame, but regained his composure and was able to start landing some nice overhand rights. Tapia started to get into a rhythm and was able to land left hooks to the body that started to slow LeBron down. LeBron, however, would not go quietly into the night as he was able to force Tapia with some furious exchanges which thrilled the sold-out crowd. Many of the rounds were close, and it was accuracy and harder punch of Tapia that opened a cut up the left eye of LeBron, which proved to be the difference of the fight. As the Cuomo Puerto Rico native won by scores of 99-91, 98-92, and 97-93, winning the WBC Continental Super Featherweight title, and raises his record, by the way, to 14-0. LeBron, also of Puerto Rico, is 18-3. Move along now and see what happened down in the Scottish Rite Theater in San Antonio, Texas on the 12th of March. Ricky Medina went toe-to-toe against Armando Fausto. And the undefeated featherweight prospect, Ricky El Castigo Medina, who's now 13-0 with 7 knockouts, took one step closer to contender status as he started off 2022 with a bang, stopping Armando Fausto, who's 9-3-1, now 5 knockouts, 10 seconds into round number 8 of the scheduled 8-rounder. The fight, promoted by TMV Promotions, took place, as I said, in San Antonio at the Scottish Rite Theater. This is exactly how I wanted to start my year, with a knockout against a well-regarded opponent, said Medina. Now I just have to continue from here. Getting the stoppage in the final round was a big thing for me, since it showed that I have a killer instinct and can carry my power throughout a fight. This year, I'm planning on taking the biggest fights in my career, emerging one of the new faces of boxing, especially here in Texas. And good for him and good for boxing down in Texas. Moving a little further south, down at the Arena Roberto Duran in Panama City, we see that Miguel Madino versus Jezreel Corrales results are in. This past Saturday, lightweight contender Miguel El Exclusivo Madino, who's 27-1 with 25 knockouts, suffered his first loss as a professional, losing a unanimous decision to former world champion Jezreel Corrales, who's now 26-4 with 10 knockouts, in a WBA lightweight title elimination bout. In what was considered an ugly bout, both fighters were deducted a point in round 3 for dirty fighting. Pretty rare. Corrales was deducted 2 additional points, one in round 1 and one in round 8. Madino did his best to apply pressure and cut off the ring against the slick style that Corrales was displaying, but was flustered with the movement. Scorecards read 117-108, 115-109, and 116-108, all in favor of Corrales. After the loss, Madino felt he had a lot of things to work on and vows to be back stronger than ever. It wasn't my night, and I'm not going to back, and I'm going to go back to the gym and work on all the things I know I can improve on, said Madino, who's promoted by Thompson Boxing, by the way. Corrales was fighting dirty, so I had to retaliate with some dirty taxes of my own. It wasn't my best performance by far, but I'll be back with an improved version of myself. This is just a minor setback. All right, fair enough. We look forward to his next fight then. And across to the other coast, we go to Quiet Cannon Country Club, and that's in Montebello, California. What a long and strange trip it's been for Turkish super middleweight prospect Cem Champ Kılıç, part of a growing three-point management stable, resettling in California from Germany despite the pandemic to headline this Thursday night's Hollywood Fight Nights, presented by 360 Promotions at the Quiet Cannon Country Club in Montebello, California, which, by the way, is taking place Thursday night, happening to be St. Patrick's Day. So let's see who he's facing. The 27-year-old Kılıç faces Andrew Hurricane Hernandez. Doesn't sound Irish to me. 21, 8-2 with 9 knockouts in an 8-round main event, which will be streamed live and exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. A member of the Turkish national boxing team, Kılıç moved 8 years ago from Germany to Sherman Oaks, California, where he still resides. A native of Germany whose family comes from Turkey, Kılıç showed tremendous courage simply by relocating halfway around the world with a mere $200 in his pocket, as well as the inability to speak English other than a few words. Wow. Anyway, let's have a few remarks from Kılıç. I still spend a lot of time at home, Kılıç remarked. During the pandemic, I lived with my family in Germany, and I have a lot of family in Turkey. It was very rough growing up. I always had dreamed of living in the United States and watching movies. I wanted to do something different. I'm a big fan of Hollywood movies. Muhammad Ali is my idol, and that's another reason I wanted to come here to box. I didn't speak English when I first came to America, only basics, and nobody I met here spoke German or Turkish. But I learned English watching old movies and using Google Translator. Wow, this is an episode of firsts. I learned quickly, though, and was comfortable speaking English in 6 months. And now I live only 10 minutes from Hollywood. Fair enough. Kılıç hit rock bottom after suffering his first loss, January 11, 2020, to a 15-0 Steve Nelson in Atlantic City, in which his corner threw in the towel midway through the 8th due to several facial cuts. The fight was for the vacant North American Boxing Organization, that's the NABO title, and Cem took time off in the U.S. during the pandemic. Everything was closed, he explained. I put on weight and became even more depressed. I let myself go after my first loss. My wife said I need to get back in shape, so I watched the training video on YouTube, and at first, I couldn't get through the warm-up. But I slowly got in shape, and that fueled my interest again in boxing. I didn't have a promoter. I was separated from my manager and trainer. I was trained by a friend who went up to Abel Sanchez's place in Big Bear, and I got some good work. I sparred a lot of champions like Jermel Charlo, Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, Callum Smith, and David Benavidez. Wow, can't get any better than that. A self-described aggressive fighter with a warrior mentality, Kılıç says the late Arturo Gatti was one of his favorite fighters who he emulates in terms of style. Cam has watched the Gatti-Mickey Ward trilogy about 20 times, which led him into boxing as a career. Well, good for him, and we look for those results. Taking place a few days later at the New England Sports Center in Derry, New Hampshire. Undefeated lightweight prospect Nicholas St. Nick Molina will headline for the first time this Saturday night on the Slugfest, professional boxing card provided by Granite Chin Promotions at New England Sports Center in Derry, New Hampshire. The 22-year-old Molina, who's 7-0 with 2 knockouts, fights out of Lowell, Massachusetts, will face outlaw Ryan Venable, 2-10 with 6 knockouts. How could that be? Must be 10-2. 6 knockouts in the 6th-round main event. Woburn, Massachusetts middleweight Julian Black Dragon Baptiste, who's 3-1 with 2 knockouts, faces Brian Urde, who's 1-0, fighting out of Whitman, Massachusetts, and a 6th-rounder that could steal the Slugfest show, say the promoters. The undercard finds the former New England heavyweight champ Justin Crazy Train Wolf, who's 6-3-1 with 4 knockouts, fighting out of Fairfield, Maryland, Fabian El Lobo Valdez. Oh no, sorry. Justin Crazy Train is now out of Fairfield, and he's going up against Fabian El Lobo Valdez, 3-6, who fights out of Mexico. Rhode Island intrastate rivals John Ferreira, 0-2 of Tiverton, takes on Providence's pro-debuting Michael Vongzabath Jr. in an intriguing 6-round matchup. Also fighting on the Slugfest undercard, each in a 4-round confrontation, is Pittsfield's rising super middleweight prospect Steve Sumter, who's 4-0. He's going up against Kindale Prather, who's 3-11 with 1 knockout. Undefeated New Bedford, Massachusetts lightweight heavyweight prospect Edat McNapan, 5-0, 4 knockouts. He's going up against Somerville, Massachusetts pro debuting Igor Precio. And Methuen, Massachusetts pro debuting heavyweight Victor the Siberian Express Lobov is going toe-to-toe against Andrew Nolan, who's 0-3, it says. Tickets are still available, and the doors open at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with the first bout at 7 p.m. As I say, all that's taking place in Derry, New Hampshire, USA. One of our favorites here on Talk and Fight, David Avanesian, is going up against Oskari Metz in Wembley. There's a bit of a preview. It is fight week for the bumper Queensbury card at the OVO Arena, Wembley, on Saturday, with the European welterweight champion David Avanesian, who's 28-3-1 with 16 knockouts, returning to the ring with a defense of his title on a night of multiple championship clashes at the historic London venue. Wembley we're talking about here. Avanesian takes on the unbeaten Oskari Metz, who's 15-0 with 5 knockouts in what will be a 5th defense of his EBU belt. An array of the country's finest young prospects featured on the card include Hamza Shariz, who's 14-0, the WBO European Super Welterweight Champion, and he'll take on Jez Smith, who's 13-4-1 with 6 knockouts, for the WBC International Silver Middleweight title, in a fight that is sure to bring fireworks and a tough welcome to a new division. Thrilling bantamweight star Dennis McCann is entering into the title business for the first time. Dennis the Menace, who we've also featured on Talk and Fight Knuckle Up, is 11-0 with 6 knockouts, will fight for the WBO Youth World title over 8 rounds against Charles Tondo, who's 12-4-2 with 5 knockouts of his own. He's a southpaw fighting out of Tanzania. The 2 leading young lightweights in Britain are also in action at Wembley, with Mark Chamberlain, who's 9-0 with 6 knockouts, taking on Jeff Forey, who's 10-3-1 with 3 knockouts, in a 10-rounder for the first time. And Sam Noakes is back in action. He's undefeated, 8-0, making his defense his first defense of a WBC International Silver title against Vincenzo Finiello, who's 15-4-2 with 1 knockout. And completing the card, gifted super lightweight prospect Henry Turner, 6-0, will have his 4th 6-rounder versus Ivan Najakic. Sorry, boys. 13-22, an explosive super feather Masood Abdullah, who's 3-0 with 3 knockouts, goes in with Sandeep Bhatti, who's 6-2 with no knockouts, over 6 rounds, and super lightweight Sonny Liston Ali, who's 2-0, fights Lee Glover, who's 11-8 with 3 knockouts, also in a 6-rounder. In 4-round action, Khalid Ali, who's 1-0, will look to double his win tally against Jose Bandana, who's 10-22-4 with 6 knockouts. And finally, Frank Warren gets to unleash his latest young star onto the professional ranks with two-time European champion gold medalist Royston Barney-Smith, who turned 18 in January, will make his pro debut against Adam Martinez, who's 0-2. A shoulder injury sustained in training last week has unfortunately ruled featherweight favorite Louis Lin out of this Saturday's show. Lin, who's 10-0, was due to defend his WBC International Silver title against James Beach, who's 14-2. It is further misfortune for the 26-year-old Lin, who's been out of the ring since September after suffering a nasty gash to his forehead against Amin Janabaz, who he overcame on points after the fight was stopped following the 9th round. Good stuff coming to us via London. Elsewhere, let's have a quick look and see what else we've got. Matchroom Boxing will return to the Palau Olympic Val d'Hebron in Barcelona, in Spain. That's April Fool's Day, April 1st, for a huge night of action topped by Sandor Martin taking on Jose Felix for the WBA International Super Lightweight title. That'll be shown live on DAZN. I think this is the first time I've ever reported on a fight taking place in Barcelona. So good for Matchroom if they are in fact expanding their borders. Following his sensational victory over Mickey Garcia in October last year, Barcelona's Martin, who's 39-2 with 13 knockouts, is set for a homecoming event against an all-action, hard-hitting Felix, who's 39-5-1 with 30 knockouts, in what is arguably one of the biggest wins in boxing history, when Sandor Martin will be looking to maintain momentum towards a world title shot against the dangerous Mexican. Unbeaten Olympian Samuel Carmona builds on his impressive and destructive performance in December with his toughest assignment to date, and he took on seasoned super flyweight Fadia Maji, 28-14-4, 14 knockouts, and after taking on Galal Yafai 4 times as an amateur, Carmona looks to keep winning and target an eventual meeting in the pro ranks with the Olympic gold medal winner Yafai. Barcelona's exciting super lightweight Spanish champion Alejandro Moya, who's 15-0 with 10 knockouts, takes a step up against Liverpool's Tom Farrell, who's 20-5 with 5 knockouts, and Richard Bolotniks, who's 18-6-1 with 8 knockouts, back in action against Croatian Hevje Sepp, who's 11-0 with 8 knockouts of his own. Following the return of one of the Spanish Golden Boy Matchroom head, the hometown of another, on Friday, May 20th, as Kerman Lajaraga, 34-2, 26 knockouts, takes on another British rival, James Metcalf, who's 21-2, at the Bilbao Arena in Bilbao. So we'll bring more news on that fight later on, but there is a full story in boxing247.com website. And let's have a quick look around the corner. Yes, there's 2 more stories. Wow, look at this. More stories coming in here. At the Lincoln Ballroom at the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center in Dearborn, that's Dearborn, Michigan, USA, on April 2nd, the day after April Fool's. Training continues in preparation for undefeated longtime lightweight prospect and hometown favorite Eric De Leon's triumphant return as the Mexico-born Detroit-raised fighter, once known as the next Oscar De La Hoya, is in the gym working hard to get ready for his main event appearance at Salida Promotions' next Detroit Brawl. It's again taking place on Saturday, April 2nd at the Lincoln Ballroom of the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center in Dearborn. The crowd-pleasing power puncher De Leon, who's 19-0-1 with 11 knockouts, will now face Argentinian southpaw Mario Lozano, who's 18-5-1 with 9 knockouts in his 8-round return from nearly 3 years' absence from the ring due to sports injuries in the first fight at home since his pro debut. Good stuff. By the way, De Leon began boxing at the age of 8 in the city's world-famous Kronk Gym, where he developed a strong bond with legendary trainer, the late Emmanuel Stewart. Good for him. So this is going to be a really good fight, and we're looking forward to it. All right, for the last, I know I was going to say, the last piece here in this episode. Good to see that women's boxing is taking yet another step upwards. A former amateur with the Fitzroy Lodge Boxing Club, Noel Callan, is now more recognized as one of boxing's premier trainer, possibly most well known for his work with 2-time double world super welterweight champion Hannah Rankin. The amiable Londoner has also recently been appointed as head of women's boxing at Dennis Hobson and Steve Crump's Fight Academy stable. Congratulations to Noel, and congratulations, quite frankly, to the boys at Fight Academy, and of course all the women who now they'll be looking to add to their roster and increase their stable in terms of female strength. Thank you for joining me once again on Talk and Fight. That's all the news we have. Join me later on this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, when I go on the air with Mike Orr at 4 for another episode of Knuckle Up. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, please. And we'll see you at 4.